Want you to know you're a blessing, 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 blessing. Yeah, baby girl, you're a blessing, 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 blessing. The way you walk, you got it.
What is up, YouTube? It's the girl Princess here, and I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, this video is going to be a story time on how I got put in the hospital. So, without further ado, we're gonna get this video started. So, I was sick around October, I think it was. So my mom and grandma decided to take me to urgent care, which is like it's like a hospital, but it's not. But you're in and out more quicker than what you would be in a hospital, because when you're in a hospital, you sit there till God knows when, because they just be doing too much and blah blah blah. But in urgent care, they take you back right away and you get checked out, blah blah blah. You go home. So the doctor had called my name to the back, to get my vitals and to get checked up on, see what was wrong or whatever. So they took the vitals, and my mom noticed that my heart rate was pretty fast, but she didn't say nothing at first. So we go back to the second room where they, when we have to wait till the doctor goes in. So we go back there, and we're sitting there. My mom's like, your heart rate was pretty fast. And I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't care. It didn't bother me because, I'm alive still. So, I didn't care, but the doctor came in the room and she asked the doctor was it normal. And the doctor was like, no, it's not normal. But maybe it is for her right now because I was sick at the time. But it was just like a little slight cough and all that, So, she was like, we're going to have you come back in 2 to 3 days to check up on it to see if it has, went down any better. But when I came back to the urgent care 3 days later, I think it was still high, but I wasn't sick anymore. So she was like, maybe this is something we should be worried about because it shouldn't be in the 100. It should be only around 80 or 90. But my pulse was 130. And I'm like, maybe it shouldn't be this high. But like I said, I didn't really pay attention to it because I didn't want it to scare me and me overthink it. So it didn't bother me at first. But when she said that I had to do an EKG, I'm like, I looked at my mom, I was like, what is that? And she was like, it says where they put wires all over you to check your heart rate. So I'm like, oh, all right, whatever, cool. So the lady took me to the other room and she started to do that. And I'm like, it took longer for her to put the wires on me than to get the machine to start working. When she put all the things on me, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what is she about to do? I thought she was about to electrocute me or something because I was scared. That has never happened to me before. I never had to go through that. So she was just like, and remind you, the nurse that did this, she was a big, heavy set lady. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I was scared. I didn't know what to do because I was in there by myself. My mom wasn't with me. And when she put all the stuff on me, I just sat there and she was like, all right, just sit still. And I'm like, all right. And just the paper came out of the machine. I was like, that's all you needed to do? And she was like, yeah, we're done. I was like, and then, the sticky things that you have to put on, she made me take them off. I'm like, look, you gonna take this off of me because I didn't put them on me. So this is over with, right? And we go back to the room. She was like, yeah, it's still pretty high, but we can't tell why. I'm like, you're a doctor and you can't tell me why? So she was like, you're going to have to come back in 3 days or so. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I just want to go home, get in bed, and go to sleep. So I went home. We went back 3 days later, like she told us to. And she was like, we're going to do another EKG and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, you just did one. So she was like, yeah, I know, but we need to see if anything has changed. I'm like, all right. So it was still around the 130s, but it still looked normal in the paper. So I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? But I don't know. It was just weird to me because I felt fine. I could feel my heart beating, but I felt fine other than that. And she asked me all these questions. Did I feel okay? Did I could feel my heart? I'm sitting there lying. I'm like, no, I can't feel it because I don't if I say the wrong thing, she might be like, oh, we need to do this test and this test and this test. And no, I ain't got time for that. I just want to go home, So blah blah blah, that happens. And she was like, she was talking to my mom now. She was like, I need you to call her pediatrician and make her appointment there. So my mom was like, all right, or whatever. But my mom didn't call the pediatrician till like 3 days later. So I'm like, you my girl. Like, because I hate going to doctors. Like, I hate it. So she called them and she was like, yeah, you guys could come in this day or that day. So I'm like, dang it. So I had to go in, and she checks it and all that, and she was like, yeah, it's high. And I'm like, Lord, I know that. Tell me something else. So she was like, maybe exercise more. I'm like, what? I'm like, what does that have to do with me and my heart rate going fast? And she was like, maybe it can reduce it. I was like, wouldn't it make it go higher because I'm like moving? And but it was a confusing story at the time. So she was like, before I had went to the pediatrician, I still had another appointment with the urgent care 3 days later again. So I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of these doctors. Like, I'm just about to take my own heart out and give it to you because I'm tired. Like, I was in and out the doctor so much around that time. And then she was like, when I went back to the urgent care, she was like, okay, we're going to recommend you to a cardiologist, and that is a heart doctor. So I'm like, ooh, maybe there is something wrong. And I'm like, maybe my heart don't work. I don't know. And then she made me go to the cardiologist around November, I think it was. Yeah, it was the end of November, and it was on November 30th. So I went to this doctor. This doctor scared me so much. Like, I didn't know what to expect from him because, like, it's a heart doctor. And then another patient had walked in his office and was like, the surgery went well. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to make me have surgery. So I was so scared. Like, I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know what he was going to tell me. I didn't know none of this. So when I got to the not the urgent care, to the cardiologist, they was like, we're going to take your heart rate or whatever. And I'm like, all right, go ahead. It was like 130 still. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my heart is acting out right now. It's never like this, I promise you. But because, like, I get nervous when I go to the doctor's office. But I don't think they believe me because they still sent me there. So, whatever. Keep going about the story. He asks me, do I do anything, like, sports-wise? I don't do sports in school, but, like, after school, like, when we're doing shows, I dance a lot. So I'm like, yeah, I dance, whatever. He was like, well, you're gonna have to stop that for a little bit. I was like, oh, hold up, no, that's not happening. And he was like, well, you're gonna have to, just to see if your heart rate increases and go down. I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right. But I was lucky around that time because right around that time we weren't doing any productions or whatever like that. So I'm like, okay, you're telling me this for nothing, but I'm still not gonna listen to you. So he does an EKG on me with the wires and all that, and then he does an ultrasound. Oh my gosh. When I tell you the ultrasound was so weird, it was weird because I had to take my shirt off, my bra off, everything. I was so weird, but the lady who did it was, well, of course, the lady who did it. I just gave it out. She was a lady who did it. But still, my grandma and my mom were in the room. I'm like, oh my God. Like, they're about to see my privacy. Like, it was just weird. Like, I felt uncomfortable. Like, when I tell you uncomfortable, it was so uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my God. And it took like 40 minutes for her to do the ultrasound. And like with the gel and rubbing it around, that gel was cold. And I was scared. I'm like, she gonna tell me I got something around there. And I was just scared as heck. I didn't know what she was going to say to me after she got done. But then she was like, oh, I can't tell you that news. The doctor has to tell you it after I'm done. I'm like, girl, you can't just tell me what's wrong with me? And she was like, no, the doctor has to do it. I'm like, all right, whatever. Get out of my face. So this is finally done. I get dressed or whatever. And the doctor comes in the room. So he's like, we can give you a monitor to put on your chest so we can monitor you while you're sleeping and whatever, and if it goes down in your sleep then you're fine. And I'm like, all right, now can I go home? And he was like, oh, wait a minute, no, we're gonna put you in the hospital. I was like, oh my God. Yo, when he said that, I was scared. I've never, ever been to the hospital. And on top of this, he sends me to a hospital where it is an hour away from my house. So I'm like, you gonna make me sit in the car for an hour and then go to the hospital and get an IV in me? What type of doctor are you? Just putting your patients in pain. So, when he told me that, I got scared. I was like, oh my God. He was like, you have to be there for 24 to 48 hours. And I was like, that is a day or two. Like, you want me to be in a hospital that long with people who walk around with needles? No, me and needles don't work. So, I don't know how you expect me to go to a hospital when I don't like needles and never will. So, he sends me there, whatever. When I get in the car, I call my dad because, you know, my dad's all the way in Mexico. But me and him don't have the best relationship, but I still told him. But, like, when I told my dad that I was going to the hospital, that's when I started, like, crying. At first, because, like, it didn't really scare me. But when I told my dad and all that, it, like, just broke me down. Because he was telling me, oh, Mija, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine, princess. And I'm like, oh, my God. So that, like, really broke me. Like, because that's like, oh, I miss him so much now. And I wish he was here and all that. But that's not for this video. Maybe so. Let me not get sentimental. Just kidding. But anyway, yeah. So I call my dad and all that. And that happens. And he's like, yeah, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, I hope you're telling me the truth, because if you're not, I'm going to go down and I'm going to hurt you. So I go home, I pack my bags or whatever, and then my grandpa walk in the room. And he's like, oh, you're going to be fine, Mija. I'm like, oh my God. So my grandpa made me cry even more. And then, like, my cousin, she was all into church or whatever. And then she comes to my house and she was like, I'm going to pray for you and all this. And I'm like, okay. So then, like, once she started praying for me, I started just crying. I just broke down because, like, I was so scared. Like, when I tell y'all scared, I was scared. Like, I didn't think they were going to let my mom stay with me or whatever, but she did. And I'm so thankful for that, because I don't like being anywhere without somebody that I know, like my grandma or my mom. But my grandma couldn't go because she had some stuff she had to do and you know, other stuff. So my mom went with me, and I'm like, okay. I feel a little bit better. So my mom's boyfriend drives us all the way over there, and we get there, whatever, and I sit in, like, the room before you go up to, like, your real room. So we was in there, and she's like, all right, now we're going to put your IV in. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So when my mom asked him, can I have the spray for, like, the numbing and all that? And she was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I'm like, oh, you're a lifesaver. So she gives it to me, and then, like, she sticks the IV in. And I'm like, oh. I thought, like, it was going to hurt, like, 20 bees attacking me. But no, like, she just stuck it in there like it was nothing. And I'm like, oh, all right. So the real doctor had went in there and was like, so we're going to start you on some medicine to see if it works. And I'm like, all right, give it to me so I can go home now. So when I first got to the hospital, my heart rate was 150. And I'm like, oh my God, that is pretty high. And it's not even supposed to be nowhere near there. Like I said before, it was supposed to be around like 80 or 90. So they got really worried about that. And they was like, we're going to do some tests. But they didn't really do, like, tests. All they did was an EKG and all that. And a lady came in and did that. And I'm like, don't hurt me, because if you hurt me, I'm gonna have my mama beat you up, like, on that type of stuff, because I was just scared. Like, every time a doctor came in the room, my heart rate went up. But when I was by myself with my mom and her boyfriend, like, it was at like 80 and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I told y'all it was just a doctor scaring me, because I don't like being in hospitals. I don't like being in doctor's offices. I don't care. Nothing like that. So they start me on some medicine when they take me up to my room, and they're like, this should bring your heart rate down, and if it does, then you could go home. So I'm like, oh my God. I start praying. I'm like, medicine, look, you better work, because if you don't, we going home regardless. So when they started it, they put me in the room, and they came in like a couple hours out of the night to check on me. I think at like 3 o'clock in the morning and 7 around there, and then at 10. They didn't put me in my room till 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, y'all gonna come back in here at 3? Oh no. So I went straight to sleep when I got up there. And like when they came in the middle of the night, they just checked my vitals, my blood pressure and all that, just to see if it was fine. And then like when in the morning when I asked her what was my my pulse, she was like, it was 88. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. I could get to go home today. So this happened, and then like a couple hours later, it was around like 12 o'clock, I think, the like cardiologist team came in the room, and I'm scared as heck. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. It was like 4 of them. So I'm like, oh my God, it's getting so packed in here. Like, it was a nurse, 4 of them, me, my mom, and her boyfriend. So I'm like, oh my God, what is about to happen? They're about to tell me I gotta go have some type of surgery or something. I'm about to die. No, nothing like that. The one doctor asked me, he was like, you ready to go home? I looked at him, I was like, yeah. So then he looked at the other doctor and was like, is she ready to go home? And he was like, I think so. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of here. I don't have time to be here. So when they was like, oh yeah, you go home, I was like, thank you. So then the lady came in there, was like, all right, we're going to take your IV out. When I tell you it hurted the IV to come out more than to put it in, I'm telling you the truth. Because, like, they had so much tape around it, and, like, my arms are hairy. Not, like, hairy, but, like, you know, like, the regular arm. This lady was just ripping the tape off like it was nothing. I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh my God, if you don't stop pulling so hard. She still didn't do it. She just ripped it off. And, like, I was about to cry because it just hurted, like, bad. So, after this happened, she came in here, gave me my papers, the discharge papers, and I'm like, whoop! I'm like, adios, I'm gone. You won't ever see me here again. So, when this is done, I'm in the car, going home or whatever, and my mom and them was like, you want something to eat? I'm like, yeah, because the hospital food was, it was nasty. But while I was in the hospital, I was losing weight. I don't know how, but I probably do know how, because I was just sitting there the whole time. But, like, I didn't, like, eat their food. So, it was just, when I got out, I'm like, there's food. But the night before, I had McDonald's too. They brought it up to the hospital, and I'm like, so when we got something to eat, I'm like, I was the happiest person. So then, I think the doctor ended up calling and was like, hey, how is she? And I'm like, I'm home. Don't call me no more. I'm home. I'm fine. But he was like, no, you got to come back to my office for another checkup. And I'm like, why? Just why? So he was like, just to see if everything was okay. And I'm like, I could tell you over the phone everything's okay. I mean, I could tell you that. So when he made me go in the office, my heart rate was like 80 something, 88 around there, something. And I'm happy. He was like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel great. Now, let me go. Because I still didn't like being in the doctor's offices. But now when I go to the doctor's office, I'm so used to these shots. I'm so used to everything because, like, it don't faze me no more. I was like, here, let's do it. Like, next month, I go back to the doctor for another shot next month. And I'm just going to be like, put it in my arm because I don't care anymore. But this is the end of this video. So I hope you liked my story. And if you did, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And drop some ideas down in the comments of what should the next video be. Bye!